President Akufo-Addo to assess ministers of state, and smoke from Chinese factory forces closure of Osudoku Senior High Technical School, and erratic power supply in Tamale. We will be finding out why. On the firing front, Liberia's former president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf wins $5 million Mo Ibrahim Prize for African leadership. We have details of these stories and many more lined up. Do stay. In our very first story, President Akufo-Addo will today assess the performance of his ministers of state for the 1 year they have been in office. Now, the president is expected to have face-to-face conversations with each of his appointees in an appraisal. The minister in charge of monitoring and evaluation, who confirmed this to TV3, said his outfit had already presented a report to the president.
My job is not to reshuffle. My job is to assist the ministers deliver the results.
But the president has said continuously that he is satisfied with everything that his ministers have done. Do you think that tomorrow's evaluation will change anything?
Monday is the when it will start.
Will it change anything?
We have to wait to see what the president does. I myself will be evaluated on Thursday.
So you have no information as to what the president may be asking?
Not at all.
As to the nature of the evaluation
not at all.
And the conversation that will go on?
Not at all.
And my colleague Nana Kwekujia has been following the story. He's our presidential correspondent. He joins me via phone to give us some updates on this very topic. Hello, Nana.
Hello, Wendy.
Now, has the president begun the assessment of his ministers?
No, not at all. It will be done in the evening from 5 p.m. Till probably 8 p.m. We're expecting 4 ministers, that of National Security, that of Ministry of Trade and Industry. We have Regional Reorganization and a Foreign Affairs Minister. These ministers will be coming to give an assessment of what targets the president gave them when he assigned them duties of being ministers of their portfolio. So it will be in the evening, actually. So we'll be expecting, the president will be expecting to hear from them whether they've met their targets or not. Then from there, president will make his decisions on them later on.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nana Kwekujia, for that update. You're still watching Midday Live, and you heard my colleague Nana Kwekujia telling us that that will happen in the evening as President Akufo-Addo will today assess the performance of his ministers of state for the 1 year they have been in office. The president is expected to have face-to-face conversations with each of his appointees in an appraisal. The minister in charge of monitoring and evaluation confirmed this to TV3 and said his outfit had already presented a report to the president. So we'll bring you more on that. But we're trying to reach Franklin Kojo. He's the founding president and CEO of Imani, that's a Center for Policy and Education, to give us his take on that. As and when we get him, we'll speak to him on that matter. Remember, you can get interactive. Send your comments on our social media platforms. Facebook and Twitter is News on TV3. Let's head to the Ashanti region, where residents of Afueja in that very region say they have been living in fear of armed attacks due to the collapsed bridge and bad road network. Reconstruction of the bridge linking Sape and Duase in the Asokore Mampo municipality has been abandoned for 3 years. Ashanti regional correspondent Beatrice Piogabra was in the community and has come through with this report.
We are coming to you from Afueja in the Sepetimpong electoral area of Asokore Mampong municipality. Behind me is an abandoned bridge for over 3 years now. This bridge is supposed to link Sepetimpong electoral area to Duase, one of the major communities within the municipality. But because of the abandoned nature of the bridge, cars cannot commute from Sepetimpong to Duase. Also, the poor nature of the roads within this electoral area has also increased the presence of armed robbers in this electoral area. Some of the residents are telling me that even yesterday a mobile money agent was shot. Fortunately, he didn't die and he's still in hospital on admission. I have some of the residents here who will be speaking to me to tell us exactly some of the challenges they are facing due to the poor nature of the routes.
From a few ne quine no quasim higher papa. If we say, ya quine ye, inti ma anrobes baha, ebabe haying, and a bridge your hands swobu, inti cano and co emma, inti ama or how be brea buying, and suya bridge ya bui. It's midday, and so you be higher, yenya your bano, and make of our how be brea, a buying tea a best re, the sabri, a buy me a moi. Momra me ya dom no wantimi enya ye kwan ma yen se be ye beboa ama ye so ye wa ha ye ho ato yen ye nua baako no onyem enam so mo hwere ne ba ama nyame amu anko no anso hwere no nkwa enti yesre en ba sa no onya ka sa da no so ne nsu na to ama ayiri ye ya ontimi enfemu enti ye besre so wo mmra ye hospital wa ha ya kebetim di na kwanso na se kwan ne nye na kai entimi nkoninti no enam so mo hwere na bofra
ya kwan ne de nyame anim ni haye pa every say me betna a chede be nche bia so sa me ba me hu se satama duase bridge ni buye na haya na kai sini nyina afa haya na ka sene fa enti kwan ne de ye kwan a ye koti kwan a ma ka bia problem ba major road kase no so a kais ni nyina fa hanom ema asumdwe ba enam se bridge ni so buye nti ama an robbers ne hayen wo mu wiaye pa wo mu tim bebubo ba bia wiayen ha adwene haye yi ti esre president say won wo ka biewum wo hu ye mobo no meye bridge ni mayen bridge na emusa enunti na ema etimi bu fa ha ewura ba bia nti wo mu ye nso wo hu ye mobo no wo mu mie bridge ni mu mayen se be ya ebe kwa akofa asumdwe aba yesre ni pi.
The assemblyman for the area is Mr. Kwame Nkrumah Atta, who will also be telling us as the assembly member what efforts he's putting or what interventions that the assembly is trying to make the roads here more trouble. Honorable, can you tell us what, as the member for this area, you've been doing so that your residents here or electorates also would have some form of relief?
Thank you very much, Madam. We've done a lot. As you were coming, you saw that the drains were under construction. But what we have been told is that the contractor for the project, namely YKB Construction Company Limited, tells us that the government is owing him. And for that matter, until he is paid, he will not come and continue with the work. So what we plead with the government is that whatever arrears that they are owing the contractor, named YKB Construction Company Limited, should be paid to him so that he can continue with the work that he has started, so that we can get a bit of relief in our electoral area here.
Okay, you say he started some works. Can you tell us the scope of work that he did before he stopped saying that he's been owed by the government? As at the time, that was 2016, October, he did a lot of work on the drains. So the drains were, a lot of the places were covered. By his level, this bridge, for example, he's supposed to finish with it. But because he's saying that he's being owed by the government, he cannot continue. So we plead passionately to the government of the day, that is the NPP government, that they should make all effort to pay the man so that he can come and continue the work, so that we can also feel that we are also Ghanaians and we are benefiting from the taxes that we are paying to the government. Thank you very much. You heard me speak with the assembly member for Sepetimpong electoral area, Kwame Nkrumah Atta. And the residents here, their main concern is that this bridge particularly will be fixed for them and their roads also put in good shape. From Afueja in Sepetimpong electoral area, my name is Beatrice Piogabra.
So we'll bring you some more updates on that story in the subsequent bulletins. But let's get back to one of our very first stories, where I mentioned that President Akufo-Addo will today assess the performance of his ministers of state for the 1 year they have been in office. Now, the president is expected to have a face-to-face conversation with each of his appointees in an appraisal. And as part of that, the minister in charge of monitoring and evaluation confirmed this to TV. So you also had my colleague, President presidential reporter Nana Akua-Kudyah indicating that this would happen this evening, and he'll bring us some more of that. But let's go back to the phone line and speak to Franklin Cudjoe. He's a founding president and CEO of Imani. There's a Center for Policy and Education. Good afternoon, Franklin.
Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Can you kindly speak up for me, Franklin? Now, what's
Yes,
your
please.
assessment of the work of the ministers in 1 year and your take on the president's drive?
Sorry, the first part of your question, I couldn't get it clearly, please.
All right, I'm asking about your take of the president's drive and your assessment of the work of the ministers 1 year into office.
Well, first of all, you cannot fault the presidency. Indeed, any government at all, if it wants to assess its own, there must have been some criteria for selecting these ministers or appointing them. And so they alone would know what criteria there is. I think the president gave some indication when he was naming them. And so those would be my immediate remarks. But as you know, these persons are supposed to be serving us. And indeed, some will say, we are actually the best of judges. And indeed, a lot of people have spoken about the performance of certain ministers. We, in a way, have a yardstick we've always used to assess the efficiency and effectiveness of public institutions and their heads. Somewhere last year, I think on the 12th of December, I think it was, we conducted what we call the Inspirational Public Sector Leadership Awards. And for us, there were, and this assessment is very scientific, by the way. It assesses the independence or near independence of institutions, the mode of communicating what they do, if they communicate properly, and whether what they do eventually has some impact on society. These are just three of the criteria. And for us, those who came up tops were the ministries of gender, the ministries of agriculture, the ministry of communications. We have the Ministry of Lands and Forestry, and then the Ministry of Finance. Simply because they had introduced, not because they had done so much in a year, but also because they had introduced some little novelty, innovation in at least responding to customer or client complaint, and indeed making use of technology. The Ministry for Environment, Science, and I think Technology, I don't know if that's the full name, for instance, was mentioned for being very inclusive. Inclusive meaning they had ensured that the officers were friendly to disabled persons, and ensured that all their communications included, had some semblance of gender equality. So for us, we tend to do a bit more scientific assessment rather than whether you like the person or not. I mean, I reckon people...
If I can hold you there, Franklin. Now, there are some persons who believe that possibly the president should seek broader consultation. And in your earlier submission, you mentioned that you weren't aware even of the parameters that will be used by the president. Now, should all these things be made known?
Well, we have to hear all of those. Don't forget, President Mahama did something similar. He started with 2 ministries and then he stopped, because we don't even know the criteria. You see, the reason why the question you asked is important also is because for some ministries that may not perform well, it may as well be that they have never received even their budgetary allocations, and if they've even received them at all, they probably haven't had the opportunity to make a case or make better use of it. I mean, I recall the Ministry of Tourism, for instance, who might have received their allocations, but in actual fact, if you look at the things they are likely to do, some of it is a complete waste of everybody's time and money. I get you. There must be a basis for this assessment, and we need to know about it.
All right.
Somehow,
Thank you so much for your time, Franklin Cudjoe. He is the founding president of Imani Ghana. Now let's focus on our very own, which is Media General, and management and staff of the Media General Group on Sunday joined Lighthouse Chapel Kodesh in Accra to thank God for the successes achieved for the past 2 decades. Group Chief Executive Officer Pearlisio Mensah says there are plans to implement new strategies to keep the brand in its #1 spot and reach out to other countries on the continent.
In the midst of the congregation at the Lighthouse Chapel, Kadesh, where management and staff of TV3, Onua FM, 3FM and MG Digital, all subsidiaries of the Media General Group, who had come to thank God of the successes of the media group.
Last year we celebrated 20 years of TV3. In January we celebrated 2 years of two of our radio stations, which is Onua FM and 3FM. And I'm just grateful and thankful to God for everything that is in my life, in the life of Media General, and I'm sure that those of us who came to church and even those at home feel the same.
Bishop of Kadesh, Bishop Eddie Fabin, in his sermon delivered from Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 11, charged the group to focus on the future and make it better than its current successes.
The Lord said in verse 12 of that same scripture, it says that you have seen well, I will watch over my word to perform it. So what do you see? The sky is the limit. Somebody said heaven is the limit. You can see, if you can see as far as you can see.
3FM 92.7 was launched in January 2016 with the aim of transforming the airwaves with unbiased, innovative, creative and other developmental programs to the public. Though young in the media industry, it has some awards to its credit.
We came on the scene when the radio industry in Ghana was and is still quite competitive, and it means that we had to work extra harder to own our space, and I think we've done that very well with the help of God and the listeners. We hope that the coming years will be more profitable and will increase in numbers and territory.
We can only be grateful to God. I think it's been a wonderful 2 years, particularly for radio. We've done well, we've come in, and the evidence is there for all to see. There are many stations that have come in and have not been able to survive it. We've done our best, we've survived it, we've run campaigns that have been successful. For instance, we've done a Let There Be Light campaign, which many people patronized and made donations.
The Akan Speaking radio station, which was also launched in January 2016, has made a positive impact in society, and workers are grateful to God for the strength.
Thanks to God for having brought us this far, and we also want to say thanks to the board, the management, the staff, and most importantly the clients, as well as all the other people who have made it possible for Onua to come this far.
Whilst thanking God here at Kadesh with a Thanksgiving service, particularly, we owe you the listeners a lot, and all we can say is, in fact, keep listening and tune in every time, any day, and be part of our programming. Without you, we can't do it.
So say kudos to Onua and 3FM, and like you heard him mention, keep listening. To other stories now, and authorities at the Osu Doku Senior High Technical School in the Greater Accra region have temporarily shut down the school. This is because students can no longer endure the harmful smoke emitted by the toiletries and plastic manufacturing Chinese company close to the school. According to school authorities, the pollution from the company has worsened such that they had no option than to send the students home for health and safety reasons. Now, joining me on the phone line this afternoon is the Member of Parliament for Shai Osu Doku, Linda Oklu. Good afternoon and thanks for your time. Can you hear me, Linda?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for your time. Now, as Member of Parliament for that very area, what have you done about this matter?
The truth of the matter is that I got the news of the pollution on Friday on my tour to some communities in the area. And so when I got the news, after my tour, I rushed back to the campus to ascertain the situation. Unfortunately, when I got there, the head mistress wasn't around, and the students have already left the campus. And so I made a follow-up, which I called the DC. Unfortunately, he's also on a tour. He has traveled. So this morning, I had a meeting with the district coordinator, together with the education director as well. According to the information I gathered, I was told that there was a committee of the district assembly headed by the DC the district education unit, and then the education director as well, so that they'll see how best they can manage the situation. In a deliberation of this meeting, there was 6 measures that was put in place, for the Chinese to comply with it, which was increasing the height of the chimney for the smoke to go high up into the air, and redirecting the smoke and emissions, and also repositioning their generators, which is almost always causing noise on campus. And also the machines were asked to be relocated elsewhere in their yard. Management of Shanfield also were to visit some factories at Tema to understudy how their factories are operating.
Now, you mentioned that, if I can come in there, you mentioned that you were there on Friday and then you had these updates. Monday morning, are these children in school, and have the company you mentioned, the Chinese company, have they gone by, or have they even started some of these processes that they were asked to follow?
Yes, as I'm speaking to you now, because of the hazard, the students that were complaining about the unbearable smoke, it has to do with the PTA, as I'm speaking to you. The PTA were asked to go to, the factory, visit the factory to assess the situation. But the Chinese company asked, the education directors to give them 21 days.
So what happens within the 21 days? Is that to say that they are still operating as we speak?
It has a lot to do for them to visit sites in Tema and other things to work on. So they were asked to, the Chinese company asked them to give them 21 days, to find a solution to that.
While they are still operating?
Yes, while they are still operating. What I want to say a little bit about this Chinese company, because as I'm speaking to you, the Shai Osu Doku school has 2 dormitories. The school has 2 dormitories. They have 2 dormitories. One is on the other side. They have annex.
No, but what time or when will the students resume? You're talking about 21 days and this company is still operating. When are the students supposed to return, and how quickly can this matter be resolved?
Yeah, according to the education director, when they proposed the 21 days, they said they can't, and that they've given them 3 days to work out, 3 days, maximum 5 days to find a solution to that issue.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking with the MP of Shai Osu Doku, and she is Linda Oklo. We'll follow the story closely and bring you some more on that. Away from that story, residents of Dediako lack basic amenities affecting livelihoods. According to them, several appeals have not yielded results, and the chief of Dediako in the Bosomtwe district of the Ashanti region is therefore spearheading initiatives, including the provision of water to give the community relief. Dediako, a farming community and its adjoining villages, have seen increase in water-related diseases over the years, resulting in the death of some residents, including children. The 2 boreholes in the community are not enough to serve the over 1,000 residents, compelling residents to use untreated and unwholesome water. To save the situation, the chief of Dediako, Nana J. Penning, initiated a water project.
It's a national cake in the year, cha bedru yansua. A bedru yasun, nebreko.
My aim is to improve the livelihoods of residents. Residents have a right to access potable water. He promised to complete a 20-seater water-closet toilet facility for the community. Roads are also in a poor shape. The Member of Parliament for Bosomtwe constituency, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, is happy about the intervention of the chief.
We will need the help of traditional authorities to develop the Bosomtwi constituency in the Ashanti region.
And in their attempts to save the sick and the people of Chifo Bonsahon trek about 90 miles to seek emergency medical attention in a nearby town. Absence of CHIPS compound and the poor road network in the central region town is hindering access to healthcare services. This has resulted in the death of some sick persons in that very community. Spencer Boateng has more on the story.
This is the level of deterioration of the road from Ataiku to Chifo Bonsahon in the Atimokwa district. Ideally, it takes less than 35 minutes to cover this stretch using a vehicle. But the road is in such a state of disrepair that no driver is willing to ply. Drivers have abandoned the route for nearly a decade now, making access to the community problematic.
The community is entirely cut away from the Chifo Atimokwa district as far as vehicular accessibility is concerned, while residents continue to die on their way to get emergency health care. Farm produce also continue to perish, making life difficult for the people.
The alternative means of reaching Chifo Bonsahon is through the Wassa East district of the Western region, nearly 2 hours from Chifo Praso in the central region. This part of the road appears easy to ply, except for the fact that one will need to endure the dust that is associated with using the stretch. At a point, passengers are forced to adopt new strategies.
Even here also, the road has its own share of challenges. Apiesuman is the stop spot for vehicles. Only motorbikes could ply the road from here to Bonsahon. This tells you how the people are cut away from national activities, even at the district level.
Even for those experienced in using motorbikes, they are extremely cautious. In 2017, 10, including 6 pregnant women, died on this road while they were being rushed to Ataiku to access emergency healthcare services. Secretary of the Chief of Bonsahon, Kwame Tim, alleged that the road was contracted to a firm, but the construction of the road never materialized.
This road has even been approved and even been contracted. Even we heard from the radio and even from the news and then papers that the road has been constructed about 6 to 7 years ago, but it wasn't true like that.
The latest death was recorded in December. There was no transport, so a patient died. Children and women are the most vulnerable.
We are dying because of this road. When someone falls sick, we will try and try and try, we won't reach anywhere. Then he passed away. Our pregnant woman, the same thing. Our small child, in fact, when sometimes they have been attacked by convulsion, we will try and try and try. We won't reach anywhere. The child passed away.
The Sustainable Development Goal 3 aims at achieving universal health coverage, including access to quality, essential health care by 2030. However, the lack of a health facility at Bonsahon and its environs is a setback. They are calling on the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, to assist them to get a health facility to reduce the occurrences of unfortunate deaths.
We have heard of what she has done recently at the Kompanoti Teaching Hospital. So we are appealing to her to come and assist us immediately without delay.
Chifo Bonsahon is not on the national grid, so access to telecommunication is a luxury for the nearly 800 residents. The only access to telephone to arrange for a motorbike from Apiesuman when the sick is in a critical condition is this Pentecost church in the community. But this, they say, is not the best means of solving emergency health cases due to network instability. This church, the only place for making calls, is inundated, and here privacy can only be a wish. Essie Infumwa, like some other women in the community, believes accessibility to networks would be a divine intervention. A lecturer at the Communication Department of the University of Cape Coast, Theophilus Nate, believes the situation could further have serious health implications on residents.
Away from that story, green pepper farmers at Winneba and Bewazi say they are out of business following attack on their crops by thrips in March 2017. Lucy Ayambila has been engaging some of the farmers who say they're mapping out their own strategies and methods of farming to be able to bounce back.
Where I'm standing currently used to be covered with green pepper and tomato plants, but it is not so now. The whole place has been taken over by weeds. This is because of the destruction caused by the thrips.
For close to a year now, green pepper growers in Winneba and its surroundings have been battling with thrips. The insects have destroyed several acres of vegetables, particularly green pepper and tomatoes. The situation was worse during the dry season as farmers could not grow green pepper.
We will need government to help control the thrips because this is where our livelihood depends on.
According to the farmers, all efforts to control the thrips, including directives from the agric officers at the initial stages, yielded no result.
I have about 30 workers I was working with, but as we speak now, it's about 4 people now because there's a whole lot of problem and even how to pay them now is very difficult.
The farmers say though government has been helping them with subsidized fertilizer, little attention has been given to the problem at hand.
If we get the fertilizer cheap with a low cost and we plant and it's not working, I think we are not getting any profit out of it because we are doing business and whatever money that we invest, we have to get a profit out of it. But we are investing the money without getting anything. I think it's normally, it's not helping us.
He, however, debunked allegations that they have not been able to control the thrips due to wrong application of chemicals. He added agric officers should be equipped to enable them carry out their duties effectively.
This is Midday Live. Do stay. Thanks for staying. It's time for business, and residents at Tamale in the northern region have for almost 2 weeks been experiencing imminent power outages. The most affected areas are the Tamale Business District, Chogu, Yapalsi, Bewa Residential and parts of Vitina. Joining me this afternoon via phone is the Corporate Affairs Manager of the Northern Electricity District. That's the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, Maxwell Kotoka. Good afternoon, Maxwell, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Good afternoon, Wendy, and thanks for the opportunity. Good afternoon to your cherished viewers as well.
Now, what is the cause of the imminent outage in Tamale?
Thank you very much for the question and the opportunity as well. To begin with, we want to, on behalf of the management of NEDCO, apologize sincerely to all our cherished customers for the interruptions in power supply over the past week or so. And I differ slightly from you as you indicate that it's been almost 2 weeks. It started on the 4th February. But be that as it may, we sincerely apologize for it. To the question, we had some challenges with breakers in November last year.
Well, Maxwell, I'm having some difficulty hearing you. Can you kindly reposition yourself?
Okay, is it better now?
It's better.
Okay. We had some challenges with our breakers that we use to supply consumers at the 11 kV point in the whole of Tamale Township in November last year as we lost the breakers to a fire outbreak. On that occasion, we enjoyed the support of everybody, including the media, whom we took round to see the extent of devastation that had been done, that had been caused to the equipment. Following from there, we put in place some measures by the kind grace of God and the instrumentation of management and our technical teams. We were able to restore power temporarily within a matter of days. And we emphasized from that point that whatever we had put in place was only temporary, and that being as temporary as they were, they will come with their own challenges. This is just by contextualizing the problem. So in February this year, 4th February to be specific, the challenges that we foresaw started setting in. Some of the cables, underground cables, started giving way because of the pressure of load. Now, you know, as they say, troubles don't come in singles. Now, when the incident occurred, we tried quickly to fix it, and we were able to restore power by the next day. But just around the same time, something that we still can't really fathom occurred. We had some overhead high-tension cables merging. Under normal circumstances, those will happen when there is some external interruption, i.e. a vehicle pulls down a pole or knocks down a pole. But as that happened, we were just recovering from almost a full day of outage. So we didn't have time to go and investigate which vehicle knocked down which pole.
Okay,
so
now, Kotoka, if I can come in here, today is the 12th of February. And what has happened to that matter? And when are you getting assurance that this issue will be resolved as quickly as possible?
It appears you don't have enough time, because I wanted to give you a summary of what the incidents have happened. And the incidents that have happened. You know, there have been a number of incidents.
No, because of time, I would want you to quickly tell me how soon this matter will be resolved.
It's very necessary so we all understand. The perception is that it's a deficiency in generation. Far be it from that. We have enough to supply. The problem has been with the cables that we have been able to put together to handle the temporary arrangement. Now, to sum it up, the challenges have principally been two: the cables and the track. Thankfully, we have been able to replace the cables, so we have bigger capacity cables now installed and connected, to the extent that we even have redundancies on the cables. So there shouldn't be any problem.
Because that point well made, but the question is that when will this matter be resolved?
We are hoping that the last bit of it will be taken care of this afternoon, where we tackle the balances on the two transformers. All things being equal, by close of day today, we would have finished with this current set of challenges.
Thank you, Kotoka. Maxwell Kotoka is the Corporate Affairs Manager with NEDCO, that's a Northern Electricity Distribution Company. And we're still staying with power and some more stories. The Electricity Company of Ghana is embarking on an expansion project to improve power supply in the Ashanti region. The ECG officials to the premises of 5 major customers of the company in Kumasi. They include Golden Tulip, Universal Merchant Bank, MTN and Bank of Ghana. They inspected the substations to check accuracy of the meters of those customers. As part of activities marking the 50th anniversary of the company has decided to service the meters and other electrical issues of major customers in the city for free. The Public Relations Manager of ECG in the Ashanti region, Erasmus Chair Beidou, explains the rationale behind the project.
We are supposed to render what we call the corporate social responsibility. And so we in Kumasi, Ashanti region for that matter, we selected about 15 of our top customers. We picked the 15 and decided that we will go around their premises and inspect their meters.
He said the expansion projects will provide reliable and stable power supply to help boost the economic growth of the city. He disclosed that ECG has started with the expansion projects from Station B, which is at Ridge, to the New Plan Assembly plant near Abrepo Junction. He also touched on issues of overbilling.
Sometimes even the meter could be a SHEP meter, which has never been read. 2-3 years it was installed and has accumulated a whole lot of units, and we need to bill. So whenever we bill such a accumulated figure, then you have what customers want to call overbilling. But in actual fact, if you apportion it month by month, you realize that it's not overbilling.
And that's all for business. Next, we have sports. Let's entertainment now. And popular musician Shatta Wale is extremely angry at pastors who prophesied that he will die before December. In a Facebook Live video, the hitmaker cautioned he, together with his militants, will burn the churches of the false prophets if he's still alive by December. Owusu Rice report.
News of men of God prophesying doom for public figures emerge by the day. A video of a pastor prophesying the death of dancehall diva Ebony Rains emerged hours after her death. Dancehall star Shatta Wale is at the center of the latest death prophecy. The Them Confused composer gave a hint on one of such prophecies in a Facebook post on February 10. He screenshot a news item captioned, "Shatta Wale and Kwabna Kwabna are agents of the devil. They will die like Ebony." Minutes later, the multi-award-winning musician shared another prophecy captioned, "Ghana should pray. I see another morning again, and this time it's singer Shatta Wale, and it's very close." The dancehall star thinks the prophecies are not from God, tagging the pastors as fake. Whilst asking such men of God to be circumspect, the angry musician said all such men who wish him dead will face his wrath if he is still alive by December.
Right now, this is some scripture, this is some pastor say, me I go die. Me I no be like that too. Me I no be better like that too. You see, if we catch December, and I give this long notice, because I want to make the whole Ghana see something. You see Shatta Wale Day here, if you catch December, we are there. Me and the Shatta movement, unless the president come beg we go burn churches. You people can do the word inside, you want to flashy, you want to show we flashy life. We'll show you who flashy is. God is flashy. And we'll show you that when you're a servant, you don't live like one. You don't live like they can do business and things. Me make people take me out too. Because me, the places where people take me go away and if you die, we are dead this word inside. You by his grace. Because it's been too much for one country. Pastors, make we live till December. After December, make people know say, yeah, it be we. And we go cause that history for the world.
Well, that ends it for entertainment. But next, we have international news.
Liberia's ex-president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has won the $5 million Mo Ibrahim Prize for African Leadership. Johnson Sirleaf, who stepped down last month, became Africa's first elected female president in 2006. She was praised for her work in rebuilding the nation after civil war and leading a process of reconciliation. The prize committee admitted that while Ms. Sirleaf was accused of tolerating corruption, she had shown exceptional leadership in difficult circumstances. Leaders of South Africa's governing ANC party are due to meet to decide the future of President Jacob Zuma. The National Executive Committee is likely to ask him to step down. ANC president acknowledged on Sunday that the issue was causing disunity and discord. Mr. Zuma faces a number of corruption charges after 9 years in power. Russian investigators are searching snow-covered fields near Moscow for clues why a passenger plane crashed. All 65 passengers and 6 crew were killed when the Saratov Airlines jet went down minutes after taking off from the airport on Sunday afternoon. Officials say they are considering weather conditions, human error and technical failure as possible causes.
And that's all for this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching Midday Live. Enjoy the rest of our programs. My name is Wendy Lai. You do have a lovely afternoon.